We're going to be talking about the types of triangles and how we classify the triangles. There's two ways to classify triangles, by sides and angles. So first let's look at the sides. So there's the scalene, isosceles, and equilateral triangle. The scalene triangle is a triangle with no congruent sides. An isosceles triangle is a triangle that has at least two congruent sides. Those two congruent sides, so if I'm told the triangle is isosceles, I can mark my two congruent sides. The congruent sides are called the legs. The non-congruent side is called the base. Okay? And being that the definition is at least two sides congruent, when we talk about the equilateral triangle, which the equilateral triangle is a triangle with all three sides congruent, we know that equilateral triangles are also classified as isosceles. But if we want to give the most specific descriptor for the triangle, it would be equilateral. So equilateral has your three congruent sides, and we just mark those all congruent and move along our way. So classification by angles, there's four types of angles, triangles when we classify by angles. The first one is acute. Now we didn't talk about the triangle sum theorem yet. So when I actually talk about these triangles and the types of angles that are contained in those triangles, I'm not going to be specific with the angle measures. Okay, we're going to actually be talking about that a little bit later on when we prove the triangle sum theorem. So basics right now, the acute triangle is a triangle with three acute angles. All three angles are acute. The obtuse triangle is a triangle with one obtuse angle, and we're going to actually be seeing the reason for that as we prove the triangle sum theorem. The right triangle is a triangle with one right angle. Okay, if we want to label the sides here, the side across from the right angle is what we call the hypotenuse, and then the other two sides are legs. Not to be confused with the legs of an isosceles triangle. The legs of an isosceles triangle are congruent, but in a right triangle the legs do not need to be congruent, although they can be, okay, but they don't have to be. And then the equiangular triangle is a triangle with three congruent angles. Those angles so happen to also be acute, which again, when we talk about the triangle sum theorem, we will see exactly how many degrees they each are. But for our purposes now, we just want to define the equiangular triangle as a triangle with three congruent angles.